Not too long ago, right around the time Gutenberg was released, WordPress said that they weren't trying to replace page builders with Gutenberg. But with the latest release, which is coming on July 20th this year, Gutenberg is getting a major upgrade. And it looks like they're going to want to replace page builders with Gutenberg. That may or may not be true. I'd love to know what you think after you watch this video. Please let me know in the comments down below what you think of all this. If you have any other questions or comments, please leave them down below as well. My name is Bjorn Allpass from WPLearningLab, where we help you get better at WordPress so you can earn more for yourself, for your customers, and for your business. If you haven't done so yet, click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Now let's get started. I have installed the latest release candidate, RC2. This is available to you if you use a special plugin. I'll just go to plugins and show you what I mean. If you install this right here, WordPress Beta Tester, once that's installed, go to Tools and then Beta Testing, then click on Bleeding Edge, click Save. Then these options down here will appear. Then click on Beta, click Save, and then you'll be able to install the latest version of WordPress, the latest beta versions, by going to Dashboard and Updates. So right now my current version is 5.8 RC2. And I can reinstall that for some reason. I don't know why it's listed here, but I can also revert back to the current public version by clicking this button here. And when you're using release candidate, it's not stable, at least not all of it. So some things might break. You definitely don't want to be doing this on a live production site. Do this on a staging site, do this on a test site, do this on a site you don't really care about. Do not do this on a client site. Even if you do backups of your site, I prefer you to not do it on a real live website that matters to your business. Do it on a staging site or a demo site or something else. You can even do it locally on your computer using something like Flywheel. I have a tutorial to help you with that in the card above in the description down below if you want to install your sites locally on your computer to mess around with them like I'm going to here. So let's get back to WordPress 5.8. In the intro, I essentially said WordPress was lying. They didn't want to replace page builders then, but now they do. But they might actually not. They might just be converging to similar functionality because that's the endpoint of the functionality. Because they want to keep improving Gutenberg. They don't want to leave it as it is. They want to keep making it better. Page builders want to keep getting better as well. But they might just be converging to the same thing. And the reason 5.8 is such a big overhaul of Gutenberg is the ability to create templates. You can now edit the header and the footer in your WordPress site using Gutenberg templates. And you create page templates that you can use over and over. You might be familiar with those. Elementor templates do the same kind of thing. Elementor has way more template functionality at the moment, but Gutenberg is stepping into that game as well. And we can see that on this page right down here, the ability to use the block editor to edit templates. I'm not going to spend too much time going over all the details. I just want to give you a 30,000 foot view of what's coming in WordPress 5.8. And then when it's released, I might do a longer video showing you each component and how you use it. So let's start with the headline feature. That is the ability to create templates. This is the first step towards full site editing with Gutenberg, which means you'll be able to edit everything on your site. You won't need a plugin like Elementor anymore to create headers and footers or special themes to create headers and footers. You can do it now with Gutenberg as of 5.8, not right now, but when 5.8 is released, then you can start doing that with Gutenberg. If we go to pages and then add new, I'm just going to open this in a new tab. We have on the right-hand side a template section that's been added. And right now we only have these options. We don't have the ability to add our own custom one. And we're going to add a little piece of code to our functions file. We have to add that right now to get this functionality to appear. Basically, it adds a little new link down here. We can click on that and create a new template. We might have to add this piece of code when 5.8 is released. It might not be totally ready for prime time. I'm not sure because it's not released yet. So as of right now, we do have to add a piece of code to our functions file. I'm going to do that in my hosting account because that's the safest place to do it. So I'll quickly log into there. Once I'm in the correct site account area, I click on Site and then File Manager and go to public_HTML, WP Content, Themes. My active theme is Ocean WP Child. I know this because when I go to my site and I go to Appearance and then Themes, it's right up here. Ocean WP Child is the one that's underlined in black. That's the active theme. So we open that and then find the functions file. Click on that, then click on the pencil. And if you're not using SiteGround, other hosts have very similar functionality. Or if you're using FTP, you can do this pretty much the same way. We want to go to the very bottom of the functions file and then paste in this piece of code that we have to paste in, which is just this. I'll put this down below as well. So if you want to copy and paste it and try this out, you can. And you want to make sure you do exactly like this on its own line at the very bottom. If you make an error, like for example, you miss the semicolon, your site's going to go down. If you put the code right here by mistake, your site's going to go down. You're just going to have a blank screen for your site. What you have to do then is come back into here, undo the change you made, and then save it, and your site's going to be back up. So it's not a big deal, but just be aware that this is a dangerous file. If you make a wrong move, your site will go down. That's another reason you want to do this on a staging site or a demo site, not a live production site. I'm going to get rid of these extra line spaces down there, then click on Save. And now if I go back out to the page here and I refresh, we're going to see right here, wait for it, there it is, the new link. And when we click on it, we can start building our custom template. Let's call it Test for lack of a better word. Click on Create. Welcome to the template editor. Templates express the layout of the site. Customize all aspects of your posts and pages using the tools of blocks and patterns. Get started. And here we can see we have the header of our site. This is something that was never touchable by WordPress itself. You always had to have special plugins or themes that allowed you to edit this, or page builders. Never with WordPress itself. Now with Gutenberg you can. This is actually a special new block, the site title block, which relates to the site title under your general settings inside of WordPress. You also have the site tagline block. And you also have even more blocks that are sprinkled throughout here. They're not organized into, say, the header, which would make sense, but you can put them anywhere, so it doesn't really make sense to have them as a header either. But there's a site logo block, which will display the logo dynamically wherever you put it. It'll update to whatever logo is currently the site logo. We have more blocks here: query loop, post title, post content. We'll get to query loop in just a second because that one's pretty awesome and it's brand spanking new. There's also this login, log out. Never seen that one before. Maybe it's new, maybe it's not. I don't know. Haven't seen that one before. But it implies to me that you add this and you have a log out link when you're logged in and a login link when you're logged out, which is something that's been in high demand. Now it's built right into WordPress, so that's pretty awesome. And that's just more evidence WordPress is expanding its functionality and replacing a lot of plugins that you don't need anymore once you use the Gutenberg editor. And clearly, I haven't done a lot of work on this template, so it's not the best demonstration. But if we publish it and then go back, I have to refresh here. Now we have our template section and we have the test template that we just created. And we can click on Edit to edit it at any time. And you can apply this test template to as many pages or as few pages as you want. And you edit them in one place, and then they're going to be updated all over the place, which is how a template works, Captain Obvious. So that's pretty awesome. What's also awesome is those new blocks aren't just for templates. Case in point, we got a site logo right into a regular post if we want to. Site tagline, site title. Most importantly is the query loop. This is one of the coolest features because I like dynamic stuff. And this pulls in dynamically all the most recent posts that you have on your site according to your settings. It added as one post, and there's only one post in the site, so only added one. It does not have a featured image currently, I don't think. That's why it's saying just featured image. That's where the featured image would go if you had one. If you don't like this display, click on this little grid and you can see other display designs. Looks like we do have more posts. That first one just set to show just one. There's a bunch of different default displays, as you can see, the ways to display the posts on your site. I'm just going to stick with this one. It's pretty straightforward. All this information is pulled in dynamically, so you can't really edit it per se. I can't edit the text of this excerpt, but I can edit how things are displaying on the right-hand side. And if you're finding this tutorial helpful, click the like button because that helps this video show up for more people on YouTube so we can spread the knowledge and help more people with this information. So make sure you click like if you like this video. So on the right-hand side, when you click into any one of these blocks, we have settings for that block. Not many for the featured image. We have a couple for the excerpt, color, and showing the link or not, plus the advanced. For the date, got some settings here. And the title probably has a few settings, make it a link or not. And we can also, at any point, we are within the parent container of the query loop, and we've selected a child of the query loop container, which is just the excerpt. At any point, we can click on this query loop icon, which is another new addition of WordPress 5.8, and it takes us back up to the parent container, which was always kind of a pain before. When you're selecting items inside of a larger group, it was always hard to get back to the parent group or the main wrapper for the group. Now there's a little button here that has the icon for that main wrapper. Click on it and you go back to the main wrapper. And if we click on block on the right, we have settings for the query loop in general. So we had settings for some of the child components, and we have settings for the overall query loop. We could choose which post types to display. This would likely include custom post types as well. We could change the sorting order. We can make them sticky or not. You can add filters so you can show only posts from certain categories or from certain authors or that contain certain keywords. And this is the first iteration. It'll likely become more developed in the future and have even more features. But I love dynamic stuff, and this is great. And so you can add this to a page template. So this would show up throughout all the pages you add it to, add that template to. Or you could just add this to a random post. It's a regular Gutenberg block. So you could be writing a post about sports cars, and you could add a query loop that just pulls in the most recent posts about sports cars. That would be dynamic on that post every single time. And this saves you having to go out to Elementor, for example, creating a sports car query loop, which you can do. And then you save that template, then you import that template using a shortcode, Elementor shortcode into the post. A bit cumbersome, but it works. Now you can do this right in Gutenberg, and it's super simple, as you can see. Now let's get to another one of the new features with WordPress 5.8. You can add blocks as widgets, or widgets as blocks. One of those two. I'll show you what I mean. Let's go back to the dashboard. And let's go to Appearance and Widgets. And this area got a complete overhaul. It looks totally different now. And these are the widget areas defined by the theme. They used to be up in the right-hand corner would be the widget areas. On the left, you'd have a list of widgets that you can drag and drop into the widget area. Now it's completely different, as you can see. Click on the plus under any one of these widget areas, and you can add Gutenberg blocks. You can even add a query loop, I bet. Query loops will go in here. No, they won't. Getting a little ahead of myself. So query loops don't work in this section, but if you wanted to add a login, logout link, that could work. I bet site logo works. No, that one's not here either. Maybe it's just not picking them up on search. No, it's not there. So you don't have the full complement of blocks, but you do have the blocks that apparently are compatible with widgets. So you can add those here, blocks as widgets. You can also do that inside the customizer. If we go to customize and then go to widgets and then go to footer, for example, we see welcome to block widgets, blah de blah, and this is pulling in some errors, so that's not great. But it seems to be appearing fine down here. Might be some compatibility issues, or it could also be because it's a release candidate and this stuff just isn't working right. But you can add blocks right here, just like we're adding earlier in the widget area, and use those to build out widget areas and footers very, very easily. Another cool feature in WordPress 5.8 is the ability to use WebP images in WordPress. There was a time, not too long ago, in fact, right now, currently, with the current version of WordPress, you can't upload WebP images. And WebP is an image format created by Google. It's not new anymore, but it's probably the latest image format in the world. And it basically allows high quality images to be much smaller. I have a video on WebP linked to in the card above in the description down below if you want to know more about it. And now we can upload that into WordPress. So I'm going to convert one of my images to WebP. So let's just look up WebP converter. Must be one of those out there. Let's see this one. WebP to PDF. No, I want to go JPEG or PNG to WebP. There it is right there. Let's click on that. And let's select a file for my computer. Got a random PNG right here. Convert to WebP, convert. There it is. WebP. Looks a little pixelated compared to the original. That's okay, it's just a quick test. It's not gonna be perfect. But it will highlight the fact that we can now upload WebP images. So if I go to Media Library and add new, I can now go to Select Files and select my WebP, click on Open, and it's uploading it. In fact, it's done already. Copy the URL to the clipboard, take a look at it, and there it is. This is not possible in the current version of WordPress. You try uploading a WebP image, you're going to get an error. I'm not going to prove it to you. You can prove that to yourself. Just use the converter, upload a WebP image, and it's just not going to work. You're going to get an error message. Now, you don't. Another cool new feature, if we go into Let's go into post. Let's add a new post. And let's add a file block. This allows us to add things like PDFs to our website. I'll just drag and drop this PDF into here that I downloaded from AppSumo. And previously in the current version, currently in the current version of WordPress, this does not show up as an embedded PDF. It just shows up as a link to view the PDF and a download button to download the PDF, which we see down here. So we have the download button and the link to view the PDF in full screen. But we also now have this PDF embed with a table of contents on the left, so you can scroll right through and go through the entire thing this way, or read the whole PDF on the right this way. A lot of options for the PDF. You can rotate it, expand the size, print it, download it, blah, blah, blah. Just a lot more functionality coming with your PDF now with WordPress 5.8. There are separate plugins in WordPress that allow you to embed PDFs. I've made videos on them in the past. You don't need them anymore. You can just use the block. And so this means that you can possibly get rid of another plugin on your site, because there are PDF embed plugins that some have more functionality than this does, but maybe this is all you need. Maybe this is perfect. So you can get rid of that plugin, which is great. And the less plugins you have, the faster your site's going to go, and the more secure it'll be, because the less updates you have to do. The less vulnerabilities could be introduced to your site because the plugin developer isn't keeping their security up to date. Either way, this is coming in WordPress 5.8. And yet another new feature, Duotone filters for images. So if we add an image right to here, let's take one from the media library. Let's use, it'd be better to have a human in there. Cooler effects. If we click on the Apply Duotone Filter button, we can apply Duotone filters, which are pretty cool and also very stylized. So your site might not work with any of these options, but you can also customize them. You can use the presets that we have here or pick your own colors. Just click on the little circles, and as you make changes, you can see them live on the image. So that's pretty slick. You can highlight shadows and highlight highlights, if that makes sense. And then we have an image that looks like this. So that's pretty cool. You can definitely fit the image and the Duotone filter to whatever style you have on your site. And that's coming in WordPress 5.8. We also have a list view of the blocks on the page. If I click on this right here, it opens the list view. Right now we just have file and image. But if we add, let's say, a pattern of some kind, let's add this one right here with some columns. Go back to list view. Now we see we have columns as the parent. We have a column as the child of the columns, and then a paragraph as a child of that. And as we hover over these, on the left, we can see them being hovered on the right, or you see the outline on the right. If you click on them, it opens the toolbar specific to that section. This might remind you of the Elementor navigation widget, which was huge when it was released, because Elementor pages are quite complicated, and that made it really easy to navigate items on the page, especially ones that are hidden behind others due to negative margins. Now we can do that in Gutenberg with the list view coming WordPress 5.8. It's going to be a huge update. Another pretty big change is to the reusable blocks. Let's say, for example, these two columns were a block that we wanted to have on multiple multiple pages on our site. We could recreate this on each page. We could copy and paste it from one page to all the others. But whenever we want to make a change to it, we'd have to change every single one, every single instance of it. With reusable blocks, it's essentially a block template or a global block or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of names for it depending which page builder you're using. But now we can have one instance of it that we can add to all the sites. We edit it in one place, it changes it in all the places. To do this, all you have to do is select the block. Let's select both columns by clicking on the parent icon, click on the down arrow, the three buttons, and add to reusable blocks. Let's just call this services. Let's just pretend that's what it is. Now it's saved as the services block. We see right here the new reusable block icon called services. If you go to the settings, which we see over here, the block is the reusable block services. Now we can add this to any page we want by going to the reusable blocks and adding this in. And if we change it here, it's going to change everywhere. This block is a bad example, but you could use this for your services block, your contact form block, your team block, your whatever kind of block you want to have all over the place. You can easily do it using this. You could have query loops inside of your reusable blocks, and then you change the query loop in one spot, it changes it in all the spots where it's applied. And since I love dynamic stuff on websites, I definitely love this. And the very last thing I want to highlight in this video is the new patterns repository. If we go to wordpress.org/patterns, we see the pattern directory, not the pattern repository. But in here, we see we're a bit earlier to the party, hasn't fully launched yet, but we have lots of patterns. This looks like all the same pattern right here, different languages. There are 59 pages currently, and you can filter by different kinds. So there's the buttons. I don't know why they have to be all the same, but in different languages, but they are. Keep in mind, this isn't launched yet, so it's not officially released, and so far I'm not super impressed, but I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a lot of patterns added to this repository over the years. Right now, it looks like a lot of placeholders for different languages. Either way, there is now a pattern repository, and the patterns can be added inside of your WordPress site, inside of any page or post editor by just going to patterns. And they appear in here. You can choose the column patterns. The buttons patterns are pretty sparse. Gallery patterns, header patterns. You get the idea. But now this is going to tap into the pattern directory, which means you may have the ability to download these into your WordPress site, or maybe it'll just connect to that repository right through here, and you can use them as you see fit. And we also see reusable here with our services block that we had earlier. This is where you'd add those blocks when you want to add your reusable blocks to different pages. So either way, WordPress 5.8 is adding a lot of functionality, and it seems like it might be able to compete with page builders in the near future. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Right now is probably the best time to improve your WordPress security. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but there's been a lot of ransomware attacks lately and other kinds of hacks, and tens of thousands of WordPress sites get hacked every single day. Click on that link right over there. That's a download to my checklist to help you secure your site. That's step 1. Step 2 will come after that. But make sure you get that and you start securing your site today, because it's important. You don't want your site to get hacked. And then check out this playlist right here to help you secure your website. It is very important that you secure your site. And click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. My name is Bjorn Allpass in WP Learning Lab. Till next time, keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.